Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. For those of you looking to essentially get free money, Ledger is currently having a limited time offer where when you buy one of their products, you get back either $30, $40, or $70 worth of Bitcoin completely for free. I do not work for Ledger, but I am an affiliate, and there's an affiliate link in the description below for those of you looking to essentially get some free Bitcoin. We are in a very weird spot right now for world markets. There's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of buzz. We're going to go over it simply because I think that no one knows what's going on. If you've missed any portion of the last 2 months, I want to say, the main topic of discussion was inflation and the Fed lowering interest rates, and now it's namely tariffs. If you've missed it, like I said, the amount of tariffs that have been coming out have been interesting. On top of that, on the 2nd of April, there's going to be new tariffs as well. And then I believe in the middle of April, and we can probably logically assume sometime at the beginning of May as well. The issue is that this is causing an irreverent amount of economic uncertainty around a number of things. You might have noticed how do I say this? If you've been in the cryptocurrency market before, if you've been here for a while, normally right now, crypto prices are moving up. However, because of the tariffs, because of the global economic uncertainty surrounding these tariffs, or what other taxes, what have you, might come in the next couple of days or weeks or months, the stock market is also reacting negatively. A number of years ago, this would not have been a problem, as the cryptocurrency market and the stock market were not tied together. However, when the cryptocurrency space cheers and jeers and gets very happy and excited whenever there are new billionaires talking about entering the cryptocurrency market, which is what we've also been going over for the last 2 years. Everyone's kind of obsessed with this idea of rich people getting into our market and essentially saving us. I told you before, crypto will be just fine with or without these people, but the majority, they go the other direction. So when you have all this new money entering the space, when you have the BlackRocks, the Fidelities, the Vanguards, the banks, the hedge funds, you name it, if they see that the stock market is reacting negatively and or risk on assets are reacting negatively, crypto is going to react the exact same way, and this is why we've seen our market going down. We began to have this at around 2020, 2021, where for some reason, crypto and Bitcoin and Ether, kind of those two, for the sake of argument, especially Bitcoin, began to act like a tech stock. And anytime that the tech stocks were doing bad, Bitcoin would do bad, and the rest of the cryptocurrency market would essentially also do bad. So, right now, analysts within this space have a very particular idea of what's going to happen, and one in particular. The idea is, in case you missed it at some point in the last few weeks, April, May, and June. This is the news that we've received over the course of the last 30 days from every analyst. Not some of them. Every single analyst has said that the next 3 months are going to be spectacular for the cryptocurrency market. A number of them are currently predicting some kind of a bear trap, essentially, where bears think that they're going to have control over the market. If you look at their charts, we're in a certain range, and we're getting to the point where breakout is going to happen. There are a number of people, you must have heard this at some point. This cannot be the first time that you're hearing about this. Think that we are heading into a recession. A lot of the larger world banks are saying the exact same thing, and it's namely, once again, because of the tariffs. I keep seeing, and this will probably be a thing forever, a lot of people on Twitter or other places online, I don't know if they're pretending, I honestly don't, that certain things aren't happening, or that A doesn't cause B to then react in some sort of manner. But basically, all the world banks and the other economists, if you will, are saying one of two things. Either the tariffs are going to continue and it's going to drag the world markets down. If you haven't been seeing it, yes, the world markets aren't doing well simply because of the uncertainty surrounding the tariffs and what other thing might appear from them. And or, this is the secondary part, that the Fed is apparently playing chicken. That the Fed thinks that they can kind of keep this momentum moving in markets for a while, and then at some point when they get better inflation numbers or they get better economic data in some sort of way, that they will then decide to lower interest rates. There's a huge tangle all in that, simply because the Fed should have lowered interest rates before. The problem is that the economic uncertainty and also the tariffs also raises inflation. Inflation then ends up going higher, and also inflation is a lot higher than they ever actually tell us. That's not a fever dream. It's just more of like generalized reality. You've seen the supermarket, you've seen your rent, you've seen your insurance, you've seen your car note, you've seen all these numbers continuously going up. Especially now getting news that I think the next tariffs on the 2nd of April will apparently across the board raise car prices between $5,000 to $15,000. What have you. So the discussion now is what happens to the cryptocurrency market. I will tell you in as much honesty as I possibly can. The cryptocurrency market is kind of in a really ragged moment right now. We should normally be moving up, but we're not because of economic uncertainty. Prices would be at least twice where they currently are right now. We should have seen at least $150,000 Bitcoin a while ago, if not a $200,000 Bitcoin. A lot of coins' prices are being heavily suppressed from a number of reasons as well. This is no longer like a day and night kind of situation. Like, oh yeah, no, it's definitely nighttime. No, it's definitely morning time kind of thing, because we have a huge amount of factors also contributing to all of this madness as well. We're not just talking about normal people in the crypto market anymore. We're now talking about institutions buying up Bitcoin. I saw someone talking on Twitter about their confusion about the possible impact that BlackRock could actually have. And I was like, they're a $13 trillion asset management company. We're not talking about, for those of you who didn't see it, a GameStop recently got into crypto. And we're not talking about some small company. We're talking about like the big wigs, the big dogs are in this market as well. We have constant news about countries who are buying Bitcoin. Like, there's a lot of manipulation happening within the market. And I guess the third theory is kind of that basically everybody wants to get in at a lower price, so they're doing what they can to also manipulate all markets to kind of buy in a lot lower, so that when prices do go back up, things will be amazing and wonderful. Prominently in the news today is a guy by the name of Arthur Hayes. He's the co-founder of BitMEX. He was in the news. He was kind of one of those people years ago who was in the news like every third day. He was always saying something. It was very popular, always constantly there. He disappeared for like 2 years, and for some reason, he's back at it. He's in action all the time talking about the cryptocurrency market. He was talking about the Canadian, the Mexican, and the Chinese tariffs that are going to cause more volatility within the market as we continue to see these rolling out. He says, however, and I say this face thing, he says from the vantage point of a Bitcoin maximalist, and I dare say not from a generalized realist, he says that Bitcoin should not have any negative impact from all of that news. The idea basically, here we go. Here's where we dive deep. Bitcoin maximalists have this idea of that Bitcoin won't be affected by other things. This comes from 2013 to 2017, the idea being back then, if we ever saw that a country was doing bad economically, it wouldn't have a negative effect on Bitcoin because we would see that country was doing negatively. Therefore, Bitcoin would actually rise. I know it sounds insane, but this is how it used to go. This is why you constantly hear a lot of the, not older in the sense of older, but like the original Bitcoin maximalists. A lot of times you'll hear them say, or they'll analyze the market and they go like, this won't even matter for Bitcoin. It's because they have this idea still that irrespective of what might have happened in 2020, what's happening with the stock market now, what's happening with tariffs, that Bitcoin's price won't even react and go down in any sort of way and will continue to remain resilient because the original idea of Bitcoin and the original couple thousand people within the Bitcoin market had this idea, and it was true, that when you saw the Cyprus banking issues, Bitcoin's price actually went up. When you saw what was happening in other countries and their economies weren't doing well, Bitcoin's price would actually go up because the original point of Bitcoin and the point of Bitcoin is that in the face of inflation, Bitcoin doesn't drop, it goes higher because people then go, well, my money's being inflated. It's worth less than it was before. Let me choose Bitcoin. But because we have people from Wall Street in the market now, if they get bad numbers on inflation and the stock market goes down, Bitcoin also goes down at the exact same time. If we hear there's some kind of economic problem or the Fed is going to print more money or the blah, 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 across the board, the idea typically is that Bitcoin's price would go higher. So Arthur Hayes is basically saying he doesn't understand why any of these things are currently affecting the market, despite people screaming from the top of mountains talking about that we might be moving into a recession. And I ask you as best you can, everyone is different, to try not to be delusional. I know there's a lot of people out there who may get certain types of economic news and they think that it's not going to do A, B, or C. And I need to once again reiterate, as I said before, start saving money and also have a savings account. It's just like really logical the way that things are currently going. But it's kind of like, I remember at the beginning of 2020, when everything was going on, and even by the time we got to like March, I remember a lot of people being like, okay, it won't be that bad. And there was just this kind of like idea that the markets were going to like only go higher like days after we heard all of this kind of news. So we're in another one of those situations. It's not a black swan event per se, but it's definitely like something needs to change or the world markets are going to continue to tumble down. According to Arthur Hayes, he said, and I quote, "Tariffs are no longer important to Powell and they shouldn't be important to crypto investors." That I would agree with the second half. Tariffs are very important to the US market because they're causing inflation to happen and they're also causing prices to rise within the United States, and they're also causing a problem with travel. A lot of people are choosing not to travel there, and therefore the economy is going to be worse off. If you haven't seen this in the news, you're probably not looking in the right place. The thing that should actually take precedence is the idea that it shouldn't matter to crypto investors. The problem is, despite my best efforts to try and get billions of people into this market over the course of the last 10 years, we still have guesstimates that people in crypto are roughly anywhere between 100 million to 500 million people. The 500 million people I do not think is correct. However, what have you. And those numbers do not reflect the exact number or the sliver of people that are actually only into Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because a lot of the other people who've moved into this market are just into meme coins, they're just into this coin, they're just into, you've seen it before as well. So the problem actually ends up being is that it would be a completely different market if we hadn't heard that BlackRock and the other 8 ETF issuers owned nearly 2 million Bitcoin in less than a year and a half. The problem is that they're also controlling the market to do what they wanted to do. I think under normal, if we can be honest, I think under normal market circumstances, we'd probably be pumping right now in price as we normally do always the year after the halving. We would probably have a far more normal market cycle if we didn't have all of these gigantic companies, we'd probably have $120,000, $130,000, $140,000 Bitcoin just based off of general interest. But once again, we're now in a market where, for those of you who didn't see it before, the CEO of, all of them, it's not one person. It's the CEO of BlackRock, Michael Saylor, all these other people. They're talking about a 200, that is 200, a $200 trillion cryptocurrency market in the next 15 to 20 years. This isn't child's play anymore. This isn't some kind of a randomized market where people might or might not get into it. When you have these really rich and powerful people talking about these prices, it's indicating that they believe, and they're accumulating now because they think that Bitcoin is literally going to $40 million per coin. So I think this is where the huge plays actually end up coming in, and why I think we've been seeing this level of manipulation that we currently have going on within all markets, but also, as we're just talking about crypto, within crypto. I think it's difficult to conceptualize for a lot of people how big this market has actually become, also for myself as well. Understand, I sit here, we go over the news and stuff like that every day, but I'm just a person. I'm sitting in a room talking to a camera. And I know that a lot of other people may absorb cryptocurrency news, but a lot of times it's difficult for our brain to completely conceptualize all the news that we've been getting. Can you name every single country who's gotten into and is currently buying Bitcoin? It's kind of difficult. It's 27 countries now. Can you name every country off the top of your head who's mining Bitcoin? Probably not. It's a lot of countries. Can you name every company who we've heard about in the last 180 days is actually over 100 companies? So we see the puzzle, but we can't put all the puzzle pieces in together at the exact same time. So we hear that there's money entering the market. It's kind of like before last year. I remember saying we would hear that X amount of money went into the market. So we'd hear $1 billion entered the market. The issue is that was the popular news of the day. The unpopular news, or the less popular news, was that about 5 other companies bought $4 million, $8 million, $12 million, $3.5 million worth of Bitcoin. It's not as shiny and popular as the $1 billion. So every single time we kept on getting the news about the ETF issuers buying 4 times, 7 times, 8 times the amount of Bitcoin that was mined that day, there was also a flurry of other news that was literally that company bought 2 million, that company bought 7.4 million. And it doesn't make popular news. So all this accumulation is obviously for something. The whales haven't stopped. The companies haven't stopped. The banks haven't stopped. If you missed the last couple of weeks of videos, there's a bunch of big banks who are holding each over $100 million each worth of Bitcoin. He said whether Trump imposes a 50% tariff or just 2%, it doesn't matter, because we know that Powell will continue to maintain easy monetary conditions to keep assets appreciating. This is probably one of the more realistic and probably the most optimistic thing that we've heard in a while. This one goes kind of right down the middle. Irrespective of what's currently happening, at some point, the Fed is going to have to lower interest rates. And this is also, for those of you who don't know the news, wink, this is what a lot of economists think that Trump is basically doing. The economists believe that Trump is, here's the news, that Trump is purposefully trying to lower the market for a number of reasons, all markets, basically for him and his friends and all rich people to get in at lower prices, which does make a lot of sense because we've seen this happen before economically. This isn't the first time that this is happening, just as an FYI. And also to kind of lower the valuations of everything, to literally force the Fed to lower interest. Really lower them over the course of multiple months, so that not only do assets go back up, but that it's also a lot easier for people to take out debt because the world runs on debt. So all of these things do make sense. The way that they're currently being done is I wish we had another option or some other way. But as I stated at the beginning of the video, we are in a really weird crossroads right now, simply because we are either diving into a recession head first with no real way out of it except for the tariffs to stop and or for the Fed to begin to reprint money again, or the next 3 to 6 to 12 months That's the current time frame that we have. So from a short time frame, all the crypto analysts are saying April, May, and June. Got it. The larger macroeconomic view of the cryptocurrency market right now is literally a 6 to 12 month view from a lot of analysts who say that say it this way, that over the course of the next 6 months to 12 months, the cryptocurrency market will completely outperform itself. And this is where we will then see the $200,000, $300,000, and the $400,000 Bitcoin. Like I said, no one knows exactly what's going on. We have a generalized idea of things. But yeah, that's where we currently sit at the time of me making this video. Everything is a little topsy-turvy. Everyone's looking to the 2nd of April. No one knows exactly what's going to happen. But I remain optimistic on the market. It's just more of it's time. It's time for things to actually move the way that they're supposed to move. I try to contain my anger and my annoyance because of, how do I say this? Because the market for the last couple of years hasn't reacted appropriately. And it's kind of like really beginning to get on my nerve. We know that these companies are buying up hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, millions of Bitcoin every couple of months, every couple of years, the time frame, yada, yada, yada. And it's weird that prices still remain this low. So, yeah, we have a very interesting next 12 weeks ahead of us. That's the April, May, June. So, yeah, buckle up, because either way, it's going to be ridiculous. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.